There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much, but from not becoming enough, from waking up every day with a faint ache that something inside you was meant to stretch further, reach higher, do more, and somehow didn't. You're not failing. You're suffocating under the weight of all the versions of yourself you never became, and it's only all the ones you're considering you could have become, all the what if that will never happen. And that's a feeling every man experiences at some point, usually in the quiet years between his mid-20s and mid-30s, when the noise of ambition fades and all that's left is the sound of his own thoughts. You look around and realize that life didn't explode into the greatness you once imagined. It just settled. The same streets, the same faces, the same job. And in that sameness, there's a strange grief, not for what you lost, but for what never happened. It's a grief most men don't know how to name, that you even feel kind of sad for at some occasion. So they distract themselves instead. To avoid thinking too much, they scroll, they drink, they joke about being washed. They fill every spare second with stimulation, anything to drown out the silence that keeps whispering, you could have been more. Kierkegaard called it the despair of possibility. The torment of knowing you could be infinite, yet feeling paralyzed by that very infinity. Every path splits into 100 others, and every choice kills countless lives you could have lived. You wanted to be a writer, you wanted to travel, you wanted to start the business, learn the language, build the body, mend the relationship, but you never did. And now each unrealized self sits somewhere behind you like ghosts in the fog, watching the version of you that survived, wondering why he got to be the one that lived. This is the modern curse. We have infinite access to infinite knowledge, yet our brains can't handle 0.0001% of that. You know too much. Too many doors, too much potential, too much awareness of what could be, and not enough faith in what is. Some would call that rich people's issues. Your father probably didn't have this problem. He had fewer choices, fewer distractions, fewer mirrors reflecting who he could have been. Even the mentality was different back then. You did whatever you could. You participated in the system and you do good anyway. That's not his fault. That's just the era he grew up in. But he doesn't understand your point of view. You, on the other hand, live in an age where every second someone your age is out there succeeding loudly. People keep on posting their milestone, showing you your own reflection, and social media keep on showing them to you. Instagram and his fake perfect lives, LinkedIn and his over-engaged professional BS storytellers. Everywhere you look, someone is here to remind you that time doesn't wait for the overthinker. Psychologists call it analysis paralysis, the inability to move because you've over-imagined every possible failure. But it's deeper than that. It's spiritual paralysis, the slow erosion of the will caused by too much imagining and not enough living. You don't lack capacity, you lack courage, and not the heroic kind, the quiet kind, the courage to pick a path and accept the death of the other, because that's what every decision really is, a small funeral for all the lives you'll never live, and yet you avoid those funerals. You cling to your potential like a comfort blanket. You keep saying one day, because one day keeps the illusion alive. Someday means you're not done yet. It lets you postpone the grief of becoming. But the truth is, unrealized potential is not neutral. It decays, it turns sour, toxic even. The longer you avoid your possibilities, the heavier they become. They don't disappear. They linger, sitting in your chest like weight you can't name, a pressure that builds every time you see someone else doing the thing you ever thought of doing but never made a reality of. And you tell yourself stories to cope, that you're just waiting for the right time, that you're being patient, strategic, responsible. But you know it's fear of failing, fear of being seen trying, fear of choosing wrong and discovering you are never as capable as you hope. So you stay where it's safe, not because you love safety, but because you made peace with regret. Regret feels familiar, failure feels final. This is how despair works. It doesn't arrive with drama or thunder. It seeps in quietly, disguised as routine. You wake up, do what's expected, perform stability, and somewhere deep inside, a small rebellion is dying in silence. But fine is a form of dying that pays well, and every fine you settle for becomes another nail in the coffin of what you could have been. Kierkegaard warned that despair isn't about losing hope, it's about losing self. It's when the possible versions of you start slipping away until the one that remains no longer feels alive. That's why some men hit 30 and suddenly spiral. It's not the age, it's the realization that the story they were supposed to live is now out of reach. The door didn't close dramatically, it just quietly locked while they were waiting for permission to walk through it. But here's the paradox. The very thing that suffocates you, the weight of all those unrealized selves, is also proof that you're still alive, that there's still something in you that wants more, that refuses to die quietly. Despair, Kierkegaard said, is not the end of faith, it's the beginning of it, because to despair is to still believe there's something worth despairing over. So maybe the question isn't, what should I become? Maybe it's, what am I willing to let go of so I can finally become anything at all? Potential is seductive because it's pure. It can't fail. It can't be criticized. It exists in perfection, untouched by the dirt of reality. But the moment you act, you corrupt it. You make it real and therefore imperfect. That's why most people prefer to dream than to do, because dreaming keeps you innocent. Doing makes you human. But being human was the point all along. You will never become all the things you could have been. You were never meant to. Life is not about maximizing every version of you. It's about choosing one and giving it everything. That's how you honor your potential, by sacrificing the rest of it. Otherwise, you become what Kierkegaard called the aesthetic man, someone who lives in endless possibility, forever romanticizing what could be, never enduring the pain of what is and what never will be. A man addicted to daydreams because reality demands too much humility. But reality is where your life happens, not in the hypothetical, not in the maybe, not in the future you keep editing like a draft. Right here, right now, in the work you've been avoiding, in the conversations you've postponed, in the small, unglamorous decisions that slowly carve you into someone real. You want to know why you feel so heavy? Because carrying all your unfinished selves is exhausting. Because deep down, you know potential without movement is just self-inflicted grief. Because every time you choose comfort over courage, you're adding another stone to the pile of what ifs you'll eventually have to carry. But there's another way. You stop worshiping potential. You stop measuring yourself by what you could be and start building yourself from what you are. One small project at a time. That book you wanted to write, that skill you wanted to learn, that girl you wanted to talk to, that means taking one of those quiet dreams off the shelf and making it dirty, letting it fail, letting it breathe, letting it live. It means realizing that clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from it. That waiting to figure it all out is how possibility slowly kills you. Because the truth is, the longer you wait to live, the more life becomes something that happens to other people. And the cruelest part, the world moves on either way. No one mourns the lives you didn't live but you. So choose something. Anything. Write the page, send the message, book the flight, take the risk that makes your stomach tighten, not because it guarantees success, but because it proves you're still capable of movement. The weight of potential doesn't lift when you find yourself. It lifts when you commit to yourself. When you stop standing in the doorway of infinite options and finally step into one room long enough to make it home, and yes, it will hurt. You will grieve the other lives. You will wonder if you chose wrong. You will feel lost and late and foolish. But that pain, that ache of becoming is the opposite of despair. It's the sound of possibility turning into reality. One day you'll look back and realize that the life you built wasn't the best one you could have imagined. It was simply the one you had the courage to live. And that's enough, because the point was never to become everything. It was to become something, to meet the moment you're in, to stop performing your potential and finally start inhabiting it. You don't need to chase every version of yourself. You just need to choose one and live it so fully that all the others finally rest in peace. That's how the weight lifts, not by becoming infinite, but by becoming real.